I'm back today with another cozy catch-up, a cuppa and a chat. Hello book friends, I'm Jen and welcome to my reading life and welcome to the next edition of A Cuppa and a Chat, where I just sit here and we have a little casual chit chat and I have a lovely mug of tea in front of me, and today I am going to share a few more mugs from my collection. And then I also went to the library yesterday, and so I thought I would share with you what I got. Probably entirely too many books, more than I can read, but maybe you guys can help me prioritize what I should read first. But grab yourself a warm beverage, whatever you enjoy most, and let's dive into this cuppa and a chat. First up, let's talk about my mugs. And this mug right here was completely influenced by quite a number of you from my last cuppa and a chat. This is a Polish bubble mug, and so many of you, independent of one another, mentioned these in the Cuppa and a Chat comments, and I had never heard of Polish pottery or bubble mugs or any of that. And so I went down a rabbit hole of looking into this, and they are just the most adorable designs. And so I treated myself to this bubble mug with some money that I earned in January. And so this is the first one in my collection, but it is definitely not going to be the last. This is, I believe, the 11 ounce. And there is, I want to say, like a 15 or a 16 ounce one as well. And I think I'm going to get one of those next. But I just really loved the floral design on this, how lovely and springy it was. And yes, so this is my first little Polish pottery bubble mug, and I absolutely love it. It's so perfect, and you'll probably be seeing it in quite a few videos as we go forward. And then since I was sharing this sort of smaller sized mug, I thought I would just share with you some of my other smaller mugs that I have that I usually use in the afternoon and evening when I have my decaf tea. I should have said what I'm drinking here. I'm actually having a cup of the PG Tips decaf that I mentioned in my first cuppa and a chat. I have made a list of all the different decaf teas that you all recommended to me, and I am thinking for one of my upcoming cuppa and a chat, I'm going to buy a few of them and do a little taste test. And so I thought that would be kind of fun for you all to see, and I will rank my favorite decaf black teas. So that will be coming soon. I digress. So let us get into some of the smaller mugs in my collection. And the first one is this little lovely mug, which has the letter J in a sort of handwritten scroll design with flowers. This is from Anthropologie. It doesn't say the brand on here or the maker of this, but yes, these aren't available anymore. But I really love this like sort of delicate teacup design to this mug. And yes, they're so, so pretty. If I can find a link to any of these being sold used, but obviously you have to find the initial that you want, and that might be a little bit challenging. So, but there are tons of initial mugs out there that are really cute. I'll see if I can find some that I like, and I'll link those in the description box below. And then next, this is another mug, which I believe I got from Anthropologie as well. And I love this one. It says something good on it. And then it is red and white polka dots on the inside. So cute. It has the something good on both sides. And I just sort of love the detail, how it's got this sort of black around the handle as well. And this is by Molly Hatch. That is the designer of this mug. Again, this one is quite old, so I don't think it's available, but if I can find it used somewhere, I will link it for you in the description box below. Next two are mugs that I believe are still available. Both of these are from one of my favorite pottery companies in the UK, which is Emma Bridgewater. And she makes the most lovely, lovely pottery. And I really like her black toast line, which is all done in cream and black. I showed you my tea tray from last time. That is part of the black toast line. And this one is as well. This is the half pint mug, which I believe is 8 ounces, about 8 ounces, and maybe 10. But they are made in Stoke-on-Trent, England. So lovely. This one says coffee, hot chocolate. Can I eat one biscuit? Chocolate, coffee, tea, oops, I ate the packet. And then on the inside it says chocolate, tea, coffee. So these are just so fun. I love this mug. I use it all the time. And then the last mug I'm going to share with you today, also from Emma Bridgewater, is similar in design to that same one. It's the same size, same kind of style, but this is my Tabby Cats mug because, of course, I had to have a Tabby Cat mug to match my two little gray tabbies that I love so much. It says Tabby Cat on the inside in a light blue, and then it has this cat's design on the bottom. You can see all the different cats. So you can get these mugs in different cats. So I think they have like a tuxedo cat and a Siamese and an orange tabby and, you know, all kinds of different ones. So, but again, I will link this one and the other one below, but you should just check out Emma Bridgewater's site. There are just some wonderful, wonderful finds on there. And sometimes you can find good deals on items in their seconds, like their kind of remaindered category, which is, actually, they're not remaindered. They really are seconds. So they are, you know, pottery that was made, but there's some sort of minor flaw in it. So they're selling it at a discounted price. And I have purchased some things that way, and I've never been able to tell like what the issue is with the item. So if you're not super particular and you don't mind if there's a small flaw in the pottery, then check out these seconds, because that's a good way to get them at a relatively good price, because they're not cheap. That's why I only have a few things. Some of them I've asked for presents and different things, or bought when they've had sales, but their pottery is quite pricey, but worth it. So as I mentioned, I went to the library yesterday because I had, how many books? I had 4 books to pick up that I had on hold. And then I actually had some time. A lot of time I'm running to the library right before I pick my son up from school. And so I don't often have a lot of time to just browse. But yesterday I did, and I checked out more books than I can possibly read, but you know, it's the library and you just never know what you're going to be in the mood for. And I have done pretty well this month in terms of reading off of my own shelf. I've read 7 books so far this month off of my own unread shelf, and part of my goals for 2025 is to read 2 books off of my shelf before I read 1 library book. So technically I could read 3 library books now because I've read 7 books this month off of my shelf. Plus I read 1 library book in January, and I read quite a few books off my shelf in January, so I could probably read more library books than that. Actually, I did read 1 other library book this month, very short little children's book, and I have a few more in that series I'm going to share with you in just a moment. But yes, I figured since I do have a little bit of leeway here to read some library books, that I would just grab some things off the shelf. These were all just kind of mostly cover picks or authors I've read or heard of and want to read. And so I was just like, oh, I'm just going to grab these and see. So I would love from you guys in the comments. Let me know if you've read any of these books, or if there's any I should prioritize, or if there's any that you just really want to hear me talk about and let you know if they're good or not. Definitely leave that in the comments, and I will try to prioritize reading, you know, 1 or 2 of those above the others, and then we'll see what I get to. So I'm going to start off with the books that I put on hold that I went to pick up yesterday. And I don't know what got me in the mood for this, but just recently, I'd say probably within the past 6 months or so, I have started following Brambly Hedge on Instagram. I found out about the Brambly Hedge books, which are just these lovely little children's books all about these little mice that live like in the English countryside. And I think if you grew up in England, you may have grown up reading these. I want to say, when were they first published? Well, this one was first published in 1990. So maybe if you grew up in the like late 80s, early 90s, you're familiar with these, but it isn't something new to me. And I just think they are absolutely adorable. The illustrations are so wonderful. They're written by Jill Barklam. I think she illustrates them as well. I feel like she does. Yeah, Text and Illustrations by Jill Barklum. So yes, she does both the text and the illustrations. And when I found out that my library had some of the Bramley Hedge books in their collection, I decided I wanted to read them. And because they're just so short and sweet and you can just sit and read them in a few minutes, I first checked out Spring Story because that seemed good to be reading as we head out of winter sort of and into spring a little bit. And I just loved it so much that I went ahead and got 2 more of the Bramley Hedge books. So I checked out Sea Story. Isn't that adorable? I just love it. And then Winter Story, which probably would be better to read, you know, like December, January, but I'm going to read it right now. And again, they're really, really short and the illustrations are just delightful. I love these little like cutouts of their homes, like in the trees and things. My childhood self is just reveling in that because I love things that are small and tiny. I loved the Littles when I was growing up and the Borrowers and anything small and, you know, made into something else. You know, if they've turned a thimble into a cup to drink out of, I'm all there for that. So Bramley Hedge is right up my alley. So I'm very much looking forward to these. I will definitely read these because they're only they only take about 10 minutes to sit down and read. And then I checked out another children's book and now I am racking my brain for where I heard this talked about. I either read about it somewhere or I saw somebody talk about it in a video or on Instagram, and I cannot for the life of me remember where, so apologies for that, but maybe some of you have seen this talked about somewhere as well. But this is Miss Rumphius, and this is a story and pictures by Barbara Cooney. And I don't really know anything about it other than it looks delightful. And it says, once long ago, Miss Rumphius was a little girl named Alice who lived in a city by the sea. When she grew up, she wanted to travel and see faraway places and then come home to live beside the sea, just as her grandfather had. But there was one thing more she had to do. This was published in 1982, so it's a little bit older, and I have never read it or had even heard of it, but it looks charming, and I love the illustrations. I mean, so beautiful. Yes, so I'm going to read this one as well, and we will see what I think. And then the last book that I checked out, and I had checked this book out, I can't even tell you how many years ago now, you guys, maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. I don't know. I can't remember now, but I read part of it and then it was due back at the library. And so I had to return it, and there was a hold on it, so I couldn't renew it. And that was disappointing, and I've been wanting to check it out again, and for some reason just never have. And that was The Road Trip by Vivian Swift, a traveler's journal of love and France. And this is just this sort of like illustrated tour through France. So it's got pictures and then some text, and it's just kind of so lovely. And I don't know, I was just sort of in the mood to armchair travel through France, maybe because I just read another Antoine Lorrain book, and so that kind of put me in the mood for something French. And also because I shared my Audrey Hepburn books, and I always think of France when I think of Audrey Hepburn. I don't know, she has that sort of French chicness about her, even though she wasn't French. But yes, so I decided to recheck this one out, and hopefully I can make it through this before it is due back at the library. But yes, so another little nonfiction read, which I thought would be good. Okay, and then I have this stack. These are the books that I just picked up on a whim because for whatever reason they were calling to me. And the first one is Kinsey and Me by Sue Graft. I have read the entire Kinsey Millhone alphabet series, but I have not read this little collection of short stories, which I think kind of tell a little bit about how Kinsey came to be. And yeah, there's like, it's done in a few different parts. There are 2 parts, I guess. Part 1 is Kinsey and part 2 is And Me. So I think we learn about Kinsey and then about how Sue Grafton, came to turn her into the star of her novels. I don't know. Haven't read it. I was looking this up. It doesn't have the best reviews, but I just love the Kinsey Millhone series. It is a fantastic mystery series. If you're looking for something, they're not cozy, but they're not really graphic either. She's a private investigator, and she lives in a fictionalized version of Santa Barbara, California, which is Santa Teresa, I think. Santa Teresa? I believe that's the name of her town. Anyway, I'm blanking a little bit on the name that Sue Grafton gave it, but it is Santa Barbara, and it's just a lovely series. It's probably one I'm going to reread again at some point, just start from A. She unfortunately didn't make it to Z before she passed away, so that is very sad for all of the Kinsey fans out there, but so I just love Kinsey, so I'm looking forward to reading this. And oh, you know what's a funny little side note about this? One of the things I like to have for lunch sometimes is I make tuna fish, like tuna, mayo, and celery, and red onion, and then I eat it with Triscuits because Kinsey does that. She eats tuna with crackers. And I'd never thought of doing that before, and then I read that she did that, and I thought, oh, that sounds kind of good. So sometimes if I just kind of want a snacky kind of lunch, then yeah, that's what I have, maybe with a couple slices of cheese and some, apples or something like that, so, or some veggies. So yes, anyway, but I digress. Next up is another mystery, and a few of my friends whose taste in books I really, really trust have been reading mysteries by this author, and I'm so excited to see that my library actually had one in. Actually, they had two on the shelves, but I decided to pick this one, and that is Bats in the Belfry by E.C.R. Lorac. And I have heard nothing but wonderful things. My friend Elizabeth really loves Lorac's writing, and I have been wanting to give her a try. And so this is part of the British Library Crime Classics. It says, well, I can't really read the back of this. Something about a man named Bruce, and his wife's an actress. Doesn't sound like Bruce is doing very well in life. And they lead separate lives in their house at Regent's Park. And then Bruce is called away to Paris, and then he vanishes until his suitcase and passport are found in a sinister artist's studio, the Belfry, in a crumbling house in Notting Hill. Inspector MacDonald must uncover Bruce's secrets and find out the identity of his mysterious blackmailer. So yes, very much looking forward to giving this one a try. And I do want to read some mysteries in March for March Mystery Madness. And so I may save this one and start it in March. So we will see. And then next, this book is a little out of the box for me, you guys, but it is a novel translated from the Danish. It's called Mirror Shoulder Signal by, I'm going to say maybe Dorte Nors. Perhaps that's how you pronounce the author's name. I'm not sure. But this is about this young woman named Sonia, and she's learning how to drive. And she has vertigo that she keeps hidden. And she longs to escape Copenhagen's alienating streets for the rural landscapes of her childhood. But how can she return to a place she no longer recognizes? I have no idea if I'm going to like this or not. I read the first, little bit of the first page, and I did like the writing style. And I do like to read books in translation. So I thought I would give this a try. Has anybody read this or heard about it or know anything about the book or the author or anything? I don't even know anything really about Dutch, writing and what that style is like. If it's sort of like of that same kind of Scandinavian style, I don't know, but I guess I will find out if I get to this one. But yeah, so this was just a random, saw it on the shelf. It was like the library staff had put it faced out, and so it just caught my eye, and so I grabbed it. Next is another mystery, and this one was the library had a little display of mysteries or novels featuring, I think it was mysteries specifically, featuring older protagonists, and so this was there, and I hadn't even heard of this, but it is by one of my favorite mystery authors who writes one of my favorite mystery series, the Ruth Galloway mysteries, but this is just, it's not a full standalone. I think it is a follow-up to another book, The Postscript Murders, which I think I've read. I'm pretty sure I've read The Postscript Murders, but I don't remember these characters that it mentions in this one. And let me just show you the book instead of just talking about it endlessly. And that is The Last Word by Ellie Griffiths. And in this, we are following Natalka and Edwin, who it says we met in The Postscript Murders, but I don't remember. They are perfectly They are perfect if improbable partners in a detective agency. At 84, Edwin regularly claims that he's the oldest detective in England. He is a master at surveillance, deploying his age as a cloak of invisibility. Natalka, Ukrainian-born and more than 50 years Edwin's junior, is a math whiz who takes any cases concerning fraud or deception. Despite a steady stream of minor cases, Natalka is frustrated. She loves a murder, as she's fond of saying, and none have come the agency's way. That is until local writer Melody Chambers dies. So it sounds like they're going to be on the case. But yes, so I'm kind of interested to check this out because I really do love Ellie Griffith's writing, and I love an older protagonist. So has anyone read this? Do you know anything about it? Let me know if you enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm very curious. Gosh, I do want to read all of these. Maybe not right now, but hopefully I'll get to at least a couple of them. And then last is a book completely in the opposite direction from a mystery, and that is Carolyn, Little House Revisited by Sarah Miller. Sarah Miller also wrote Marmee, which I know a lot of people have read recently. I think it just came out last year. But Carolyn, I think, was written a few years ago. Yeah, 2017. And because I have been reading through the Little House books, well, this just called out to me. So I figured this might be a good one to read in conjunction with finishing up the Little House series. And I only have 2 books left to read in that, so I don't know. But I think I can go ahead and read this even without having finished reading the Little House series. If anyone's read this, let me know if this is going to spoil anything from, I mean, I've watched the TV show, so, you know, I kind of know what happens. But if there's anything super spoilery in here, let me know. So, and I love it because it's got like a map of the kind of Little House. That's the house they left in Wisconsin. Yeah, so, and then here you can kind of see the other half of it on the back side too. So shows you the Dakota territory. Yes. Anyway, so very excited for that. And that is my not so little library haul. Yes. So, oh my goodness, all these books here, which are not all facing out. Apologies. And that's today's little cuppa and a chat. So I just wanted to come on, share some mugs, show you my library haul, just chit chat a little bit about what's going on in my reading life. And I'm having a pretty good reading month this February. I have not DNF'd nearly as many books as I DNF'd in January. I think I've DNF'd 1 book so far this month. So that's pretty good. We'll see how I go. I am feeling a little bit like I'm definitely not going to get to all the books I had planned to get to in February. So I'm trying to figure out how to prioritize what needs to get read for sure to hit my goals that I want to hit for the month, because I haven't read my classic yet that I wanted to read, The Scarlet Pimpernel, and I haven't yet read the second book I pulled from my 25 and 2025, and I haven't read my nonfiction off my shelf yet. And yeah, so I'm feeling a little behind. So I definitely need to get to that. I mean, if I don't, I don't, you know, goals are just fun targets to try to hit, but you know, I'd kind of like to get to them at least through February. I'd hate to, like, you know, miss one of my goals right at the beginning of the year, you know, save that for when I lose my steam in like August, September. No, I'm not going to lose my steam. You guys are going to hold me and keep me on task, right? But let's chat down in the comments. Let's chat about mugs, and let's chat about library books, and definitely let me know if you have read any of the books that I checked out from the library, and if there is one in particular you think I should prioritize, and I will try to put any that get a lot of votes to the top of my read list. And if there isn't anything that you wanted to add in the comments, but you'd like to let me know that you were here, why don't you leave a mug, a teapot, something to do with a lovely warm beverage to let me know that you were here. Comments really do help my channel, so I really appreciate seeing those little emojis down there, and it's really lovely to see that you watched the video and you made it this far, so I really do appreciate that. And if you did enjoy this video, if you could hit that like button and subscribe if you aren't already subscribed, I would love to have you join my bookish community, and I'll be back with another video very soon. Bye!